everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a 45-minute creative yoga flow focused on fluidity and strength. The theme today is going to be very playful. I find when I take yoga classes and when you get really into your yoga journey, a lot of times we do the same poses, right? We go from plank to chaturanga to upward facing dog, downward facing dog, the works. And while I love those poses, they make me feel amazing. They're always a staple, sun salutation, etc. I find that with yoga, I like to switch it up. That's why I like going to new yoga classes. I'm always a student, so going to new teachers as well to see different yoga poses, different transitions, and to really have fun with yoga because we don't want to wake up every day, do the same yoga routine. It gets boring. Same thing in life. When we do the same things all the time, we need that spark. We need something to spice up our routine. So that's what we're here to do today. We're going to be doing nothing too complicated, just some different poses. So I'm really excited to share them. We're going to focus on our creativity, kind of letting our body guide us where we need to go. So we're going to start today with a cross-legged position on our mat. Keep your hands at heart center, on your knees, whatever's comfortable. We're going to start with a somatic awakening. So our goal with this is to connect to our breath. So you can close your eyes or keep them open. And we're going to explore our breath and mix that with some organic movements. So let's take a deep breath in. Let's just close our eyes. Inhale deeply through our nose. Deepest breath you've taken today. Hold at the top for 1 moment and exhale through your mouth. Let's do one more. Inhale deeply, deep into the stomach. Hold for a moment and exhale. Now we're going to come into some seated spinal rolls. So sitting in our cross-legged position that we were already in, we're going to roll the spine forward and back in a wave-like motion, similar to cat-cow. Basically what we're doing is a seated cat-cow, and we're just moving intuitively here. So with yoga, we like to move like a wave. That's going to be a lot of what we're doing today. So on our inhale, we're going to arch our spine, really leveraging our knees to open our chest. And on our exhale, we're going to round our spine, really sinking into our hips, sinking back into our bum. And inhale, opening that chest, opening that throat, feeling that beautiful throat chakra. And exhale, same thing, arching that spine. Feeling a nice stretch in the upper back. Let's take 3 more of these. Inhale. And exhale, coming back. Move at your natural breath. And try to rush this. Inhale. Cow pose. Exhale, cat. And as you move, you'll kind of feel the natural wave of the spine going as you do this. Inhaling, really bringing those shoulders back, and exhaling, really rounding out that chest. Okay, now we're going to do some dynamic wrist and shoulder mobilization. So we're going to rotate our wrists. We're going to rotate them in a clockwise direction. So just feeling them crackling and popping. And we're going to rotate them the other way. We can rotate both wrists the same way or do opposite. But whichever way you went first, let's just reverse it. Now let's get into our shoulders. So we're going to take our shoulders, inhale them up to our ears, and exhale them down and back. Couple more rounds. Inhale, get them really close to your ears, and exhale, rolling them down and back. Moving at your own natural breath again, that's the focus today. And let's switch our circles this time. So like rolling our shoulders up and back to our ears, and exhaling them down towards the front of our body. Inhale, up and around. Exhale, down and back. Let's take a few more rounds of this. You can do one way, so down and back, and then another way, up and forward. Whatever feels good for you. Our shoulders do a lot. You might not notice how tight they are, but they do get very tight. Now we're going to do some twists, side to side. Really getting into those shoulders. This is another pose I love to do, especially for my shoulders. You can do this one standing, sitting, at your desk. So I put my fingertips to touch the top of my shoulders, making sure my elbows are in line with my shoulders. And just twisting side to side. So inhale, one side, exhale, the other. And really getting into a good swinging motion here. It just feels so good, especially in the morning, or I like to do this before I do my yoga routine. So you can exhale your hands down. And let's just circle our arms. So inhale, up, and exhale down. Let's do 5 more of these. Inhale, bring your arms up and looking up to see your fingertips. And exhale, coming down. And really engaging all of your arm muscles. Inhale. Feeling all parts of your arms. And exhale, slow and controlled. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Really breathing in all that positive energy. And exhaling anything that doesn't serve you, pushing that away. This feels so good on the arms. We're going to do 1 more. Inhale. Gonna look up, really bring those shoulders down and back, and exhale, circling down. Take any final twists, turns, maybe a little seated twist, maybe some more of those arm circles, maybe shrugging your shoulders, or rotating those wrists before we move on to our next pose. I'm really excited about this one. This is going to be a kneeling animal flow. So what we're going to do is we're going to move from our seated position to our hands and knees, shifting our hips forward and back. So basically what this looks like is we're going to get on our hands and knees. So we know the drill: wrists under elbows, elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. That works. And what we're going to do is we're going to put all of our weight into our left hand. And as we do this, we're going to push off of our right foot, so we have our toes curled, and we're going to lean our body into the left side of the body. As we do this, our left knee is going to push through, turning our whole body, and then we're going to just bring our other hand down to meet it like this. So now we're in a little crab position, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we're going to lean all of our weight into our right hand and our right foot, and we're going to make that little like pocket. So come off your left hand and start turning your hips, placing that left hand down on the ground, pivoting the hips, and coming back into a kneeling position with our hands under our elbows and our elbows under our shoulders. So let's do that again. We'll do it on the opposite side. So we're going to lean all of our body to the right side. And what we're going to do is going to lift off of this one, because I'm in a smaller space. I'm going to bring my right hand into the center of my mat to kind of position myself better. What we're going to do is we're going to still put all of our weight onto our right side, pivot over, and bring that left hand. See how once you do this a few times, it gets easier and you kind of fall into a flow. So we just did our right side. Let's do the opposite side on this side now. So leaning all of our body onto our left side, let's pivot our right hand over, turning our hips and coming back into that kneeling position. Okay, let's do it again. So we're bringing our left hand into the center this time and pivoting our knees to the right side, bringing that right hand over to meet our left and coming into crab. So let's do 2 more of these, leaning onto our left side of our body, bringing our right hand up, pivoting our hips to the left side, and coming back into a kneeling position. So once more, we're going to be leaning into the left side now. So leaning to our left side body, lifting our right hand, bringing our hips over to the left, and then pivoting over, coming into a crab position. So our feet are out in front of us. What we're going to do is we're going to lean into our left side of our body, bringing our hips over to the right, and then we're just going to bring our right hand over, twisting, coming into tabletop. Now we're going to do that on the opposite side. So we're going to lean to our right side of our body now, from our tabletop. And then we're going to bring our hips over to the right once again, bringing our left hand over and around, coming into a seated position. This is just helping us getting warmed up. So what we're going to do is a few more rounds of this. We're going to lean our hips over to the left, bringing our weight onto the right side of our body, and twisting over to the right side, coming back into tabletop. So let's do 2 more of these. So bring your weight onto your left side of your body, pivot your hips over to the left, and bring your right hand up and around, coming into a seated position. And from our seated position, let's bring our weight onto our left side of the body, bring your right hand up, pivot our hips over to the right, and come back into tabletop. Alright, that's enough of that. Now we're going to be doing some transitions. So our goal here is to engage the body. It's really engaging that core, bracing the core as if someone is going to pop you in your core. That's how we engage. What we're going to do is a rolling down dog. We're going to move into our crab reach. So what we're going to do, come swing your legs behind you, coming into tabletop position, and push back into downward facing dog. And really getting comfortable here, we can pedal out our legs, breathing with each pedal. Maybe we bring both of our legs up onto the balls of our feet and back. Inhale, balls of our feet, back, bring heels to mat. Inhale, balls of our feet, exhale, heels to mat. Let's pedal out for a few more breaths. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip our dog coming into crab pose. So we're going to lean all of our weight and scooch over. Since I'm very close to the window, what we're going to do is lean all of our weight onto our left foot and our left hand. We're going to slowly begin to bring our right hand off the mat, pivot our hips over to the left, and bring that right hand back and around behind us while sliding onto the side of our foot, and then dropping it down to come into crab pose. So crab looks like this. It's basically a backwards tabletop, and we're going to slip back into down dog. So this time, I'm going to do it with our left hand reaching up and around. So we're going to lean all of our weight onto our right side of our body now. Slowly begin to bring your left hand off the mat. Bring it up and around as you pivot your hips over to the left. Drop it down as you fall onto the sides of your feet. And then come into down dog. So you just have to position your feet back around. Breathe deeply here. Notice how your body's getting warmed up. Really starting to feel that workout. Now let's do 2 more transitions. So what we're going to do, since we did right side last time, what we're going to do is lean all of our weight onto our right side, pivot those hips over to the right, bring the left hand up and around while pivoting those feet. Now we're in crab. The more you start to do these, the easier they become because you feel how to get into the pose easier with how it works with your body. But from crab, let's keep our weight onto our right side, bring the left arm over and up again, pivot onto the feet, put the left over the right, now we're in down dog. Breathe deeply here. Alright, from down dog, you can drop your knees coming into tabletop. So what we're going to be doing now is another funky move. This is crouching panther wave. So what we're going to do, we're going to come into tabletop, wrists under elbows, elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. Keep a flat back. Now that we're in alignment, you can curl your toes under, and we're going to hover our knees over the mat. So kind of a bear position. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide back onto our feet into a deep squat position. Some of you may be able to get those heels onto the mat. I can only do that if I'm a bit wider, but that's okay. This is totally fine. And then we're going to wave forward, shooting into a plank position. So then once again, move your hands back to come into a hovering tabletop. Slide back into a deep squat. And then ripple forward into a plank. So once again, hovering tabletop, push back into a deep squat, and then roll forward into a plank. Let's do 2 more of these. Hovering tabletop, bring your hands back to your feet, deep squat, and then slide the hands forward, coming into plank pose. And last one, so hover into tabletop, bring the hands back down towards the feet to a deep squat, and then ripple forward into plank. Plank, we can drop our knees and our chest down to the mat, come onto our bellies. From our plank pose, we're going to walk our hands to meet our feet at the back of our mat. We're going to slowly roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to come into a deep squat. And then what we're going to do is you're going to tiptoe your feet inward and then fold over your legs. Coming into a forward fold. Breathing here. I like to kind of play with the weight, so putting all the weight to the sides, to the front of my feet, to get different feelings of stretch in my legs. Or you can just remain still. You can grab onto the backs of the calves for forward fold, with the feet and the toes, whatever feels good. And now I'm going to tiptoe my feet back out to that position, that little V position with my legs, and drop the bum down to meet the heels into a deep squat, remaining with a straight back. Keep your hands in prayer. And then exhale, forward fold, bringing those feet in. Breathing into the hamstring, letting all the weight go out of your neck. And just breathing deeply. Feeling connected. Let's do 2 more. So pivot your feet out, drop into a deep squat. Really trying to bring that bum as close to the heels as possible while remaining a straight back. And then exhale, bringing the feet in, coming into forward fold. Let's try to lengthen on our inhale and forward fold, but as we exhale, bring our chest closer into the legs. And we want to really think about hinging from the hips instead of just bringing the back up and over. Really hinging from those hips. And one more. Pivot the feet out to that V position. Drop the butt. Look up, keep your hands in prayer. Feel that nice stretch in the hips. Do a little bounce, a little side to side. And then bring the hips in and fold over your legs. Right, from our forward fold, we can slowly rise up vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to do a regular lunge to get into position. So here we are in our lunge. We have our knee on top of our ankle. And with a curtsy lunge, a normal lunge, we're just lunging straight back. With a curtsy lunge, we're kind of lunging over at like a 45-degree angle. And that's our lunge. But what we're going to do here is we're also going to twist like into our lunge twist. So when we come back into a lunge, with our twisted lunge, we have a regular lunge with our hand prayer. Then we twist over to the right side, hooking our left elbow onto our right knee. This is our twisted lunge, right? So what we're going to do, inhale, coming back to center. Inhale to prepare, exhale, curtsy lunge over to the right side. And on your inhale, your next inhale, we're going to twist, hooking that left elbow onto the right knee like we do in twisted lunge. Holding for a moment, and exhale back to center. So let's do 2 more on this side. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, curtsy lunge, twisting over to the side. So inhale back to center. Get situated here with your feet. Make sure you're in alignment. And then exhale, curtsy lunge, twisting over to the right side. And then inhale back to center. Keeping our knee on top of our ankle. Coming into that lunge to start. Hands at heart center. Breathe in deeply. And exhale fully. Catching our breath. It's important to start in a good lunge position so that we don't hurt ourselves or twist in any way that doesn't feel good. So now, inhale to prepare. Exhale, curtsy lunge over to the left this time at a 45-degree angle, and twist, bringing your right elbow this time to hook onto your left knee. Breathe here. Feeling a nice, beautiful stretch in the left hip and the left glute. Breathe. And inhale, coming back to a lunge position. My rug is moving a little bit, but that's okay. So let's lunge back down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, curtsy lunge, twisting over to the side. Really feeling a beautiful stretch in the left hip. For some reason, my left hip feels so good, where the right wasn't really feeling it, so maybe my left hip is a little tighter. Inhale back to center. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, prepare, get situated. Exhale, curtsy lunge, twisting over. Really keep your arms upright to maintain that twist. You can look up if that helps. You really want to pivot your chest to the sky. Inhale, back to lunge. Getting a little wobbly here. This is our last one, don't worry. Now we're going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, curtsy lunge, twisting over to the left. Inhale back to center. Come to the center of our mat, facing forward. What we're going to do is come into our eagle pose. For this one, we're going to start by balancing on our right leg. Once you feel comfortable here, you really want to put weight into all 4 corners of the right foot. Once you feel stable here, you're going to slowly lift the left leg and bring the left leg on top of the right, twisting around the calf, and you really want to hook your toes onto the back of the calf. And this is much easier when you squat a little bit. You might only be here. I'm a little tight today, so we're gonna stay here, but those are the legs positioned for the eagle pose. And now for the arms, what we're gonna do is bring your arms out to cactus, and your left arm is going to go underneath your right, like this. So the backs of our hands are facing each other. And then we're going to slowly bring them past one another to touch. So palms to touch, left elbows underneath the right, into a twist very similar to our legs. So once we have our legs and arms, We're going to slowly squat down into this position, coming into our eagle pose. All right, now that we're in eagle, take a few breaths here. Eagle's easy when you focus on one thing in the room. With most balancing poses, that's the case. So we're gonna slowly unravel. We're gonna come into a side plank pose. You can slowly lower down to the mat, turning onto the side. So we have our left hand on the mat. We're bringing our feet out, the back of our mat, coming into a side plank. So make sure your wrist is underneath your elbow and underneath your shoulder as normal. So we have our normal side plank. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly bring the right toe into the hand so you can kick up into a single leg side plank variation. And just breathe here. And slowly release your legs. You could drop that hip down. Take a little breather, because that pose is extremely difficult. But with practice, you will be able to do it 1, 2, 3. So now, you can bring the knees into the chest and pivot to face you all. And you can push off onto your feet so you can come into a standing position, because we're going to take that on the other side, of course. So this time, last time we did left leg over right, we're going to do right leg over left. So find that balance in the left leg, spread the weight all 4 corners of the feet, and bring the right leg up. So now take the right leg, twist it, find your balance. Gotta tell myself that. Let's take a deep breath in and out. One more. Okay, now we're centered. Now we're going to take that right leg, twist it over the left, trying to hook the right toes into the left calf. Feeling stable here. Now last time we did the left arm underneath, so we're going to bring our arms out to cactus. This time bringing the right elbow underneath the left, keeping those palms, the back of the palms facing each other, and then clasping the palms together. If you're not here yet, you can just stay like this. But if you are, touch the palms and slowly come into a squat. Breathing here. Feeling a beautiful twist and nice opening of the back. If you want a little bit of a challenge, you can bring the arms up. That'll stretch out the back even more. All right, slowly unravel. Come down onto your right arm. Bring the legs out to the side. We're coming into that plank, so prepare. Bring the wrist underneath the elbow. Get stable here. Come onto the side of your right foot. Get into that strong side plank and slowly begin to bring the left toe into the hand and kick up into a variation of side plank with single leg. And breathe here. I know it burns, just breathe it out. Try to make your top leg as straight as possible, but if you are just here, that's totally fine too. One more deep breath in and exhale. Drop the hips to the mat. And you can turn, bring your legs out long. And just breathe here. You can face your fingertips to the back of the mat, roll your neck back. And just take a little breath here. That pose is extremely taxing, but it is so worth it. Alright, we did a lot of good work today, so let's continue before we get to our cool down. I know everyone's excited for that. We're going to swing our legs behind us, coming into tabletop once again. And we're going to push back into downward facing dog. So curl the toes, push back into downward facing dog. And what we're gonna do is come into wild thing. I love this pose. It's just such a great heart opener. We're going to inhale our left leg up to the sky, making sure our chest is parallel to the mat. And we're going to bend our knee, really opening that hip joint. And what we're going to do is similar to what we've been doing all of class. We're going to lean our weight onto the right side of our body. As we do this, that foot and knee come over to the right side. We slowly begin to let our left hand off of the mat and slowly and controlled bring that left foot to touch the mat outside of the right leg. And with our left hand, we're going to bring it back. So I like to come onto the ball of my right foot, but you don't have to. We're going to pivot back, coming into wild thing. Breathing here, letting the left hand fall over to the right side. Breathing deeply here. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. Alright, inhale. And exhale, bringing the left hand back to meet the right and bringing the left leg back up to the sky to come into 3-legged dog. We can drop it down to come back into downward facing dog. We're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. And I'm going to come into the top of my mat to show you what we're going to do next. We're going to do a Shiva squat. So what we're going to do is from our standing position, we're going to fold over our legs, keeping our hands onto the mat or our fingertips. And what we're going to do is, since we did our left side, our left foot in 3-legged dog and wild thing, we're going to keep all of the weight on our right foot. We're going to lift our left leg like this. Try to maintain a straight back as much as possible. If you have to get onto your fingertips, that's fine. And bring your left knee into the crease of your right knee. Just bend your leg here. So now we're in our Shiva squat. Just breathe deeply here. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. All right, drop your left foot to meet your right, coming back into a forward fold. We're going to walk our hands out and our feet to come back into downward facing dog. Alright, now we're in our downward facing dog. I just flipped over so you guys can see. And on our next inhale, we're going to inhale, bring our right leg up into 3-legged dog, making sure the chest is parallel to the mat. Bring all of our weight onto our left foot and our left hand. Open up that knee. So bend your knee and start to bring the foot over to the left side behind the left leg. And as you do this, slowly lift your right hand off of the mat, and as you touch down, pivot the chest up to the sky, coming onto the ball of your left foot and really turning over, coming into wild thing. Letting that right hand hang heavy. One side might feel better than the other. This is my wonky side, but that's okay. Breathe deeply here. Feeling wild, feeling beautiful. And on our next exhale, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So bring the right hand to meet the left. Bring the right leg over and down into our downward facing dog. And take a deep breath here. Now we're going to bring our hands to meet the feet to the back of our mat. You can walk forward a little so you have a little more space. And we're going to come into that Shiva squat. So bending through the hips, coming into almost like a forward fold, bringing our hands to the mat, our fingertips, and trying to maintain a straight back like we do in halfway lift. And since this time we did the right leg, we're going to put all of our weight onto our left foot. Slowly lift the right leg up. Bend deeply into the left knee. Take the right knee and bring it into the crease of the left. Coming into our Shiva squat. Breathing here. Now we're going to drop the right leg to meet the left. So bring your feet in together so they touch. And we're going to slowly come up to a standing position. Now let's come into chair pose. So this will be a fun one. We can just going to back up a little bit so our feet are touching. We're gonna come into our chair. Everyone knows chair, we love chair. What we're going to do now is we're going to inhale in our chair. So from our chair, we're gonna inhale our left leg up. As we do this, we're gonna shoot the left leg back and drop the top of the body forward, coming into our warrior three. So we wanna maintain a straight line between our chest, our stomach, and our leg as much as possible. So really pointing through that toe and pushing the air away. And exhale, coming back up to our standing position. Now let me turn around so we can do that on the opposite side. So bring the feet in, sink back into chair, maintaining a straight back, making sure your arms are in alignment with your back. And then we're gonna bring our right leg up, inhale. And then exhale, shoot the right leg back as you bring the chest and torso forward, coming into a straight line, really pointing out of the right toes and pushing away through the hands. Inhale, and exhale, warrior three. Inhale, and exhale, back to standing. Now let's come down onto our bum, coming into a seated position. And we're actually going to sweep our legs behind us, coming onto our belly. And this is one of my favorite poses. We're going to come into frog pose. So we're going to bring our right leg out to the side, coming into a 90-degree angle with the leg. And same thing with the left. So both legs are out 90 degrees. Coming into frog pose. You might have to get onto your hands to kind of see like if your hips are in alignment. Pose is an extreme hip opener. It might not feel great at first, but it is one of my favorites because I find nothing stretches the hips as much as this pose, but you will find like if you start to push back, it hurts. Or it's a little tight, let's say that. So once we go into frog and we see that our legs are at a 90-degree angle, you can come onto your forearms if you'd like to. That's what I'm going to do today. And for this pose, we're going to be rocking back and forth, really opening up those hips and releasing all the tension. It's said that our trauma is stored in our hips, so when you go through a lot of things in life, they start to build up in your hips. So a lot of times when people do like child's pose, frog poses, they'll start to become very emotional or cry, which has happened to me before. But that's perfectly good. That just means it's working and it's getting out all of those things you need to just work through. So breathe deeply in this pose, that's very important. And just rock forwards and backwards, feeling a nice stretch. If it starts to hurt, just come back or try to breathe through it. If you can't breathe through it, then just bring your hips in a little more. Another option is to bring a pillow to put underneath the knees if you're in a place that has a hard floor. So we're going to do a few more rounds of this, just rocking back and forth with our breath. Inhaling, rocking forward, and exhale, rocking back. Maybe you rock side to side. That one doesn't really feel that great, but whatever feels comfortable. Inhale, rock forward, and exhale, rock back. You'll kind of find like that spot that needs to be worked out, and once you do that, I like to just stay there and just breathe. I haven't done this pose in so long and I feel it. Out, bringing our knees back in. And we're going to lay down onto our belly and come onto the side so you can bring your hand to rest your head on. And we're going to do some crunch work. Woo! So we're going to have our right hand extended. Our legs are out straight and we're going to work our right oblique now. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, bringing elbow to knee. Inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Let's do 7 more. Inhale. exhale 6. Inhale, exhale 5. Try not to shake too much. I'm shaking, but we want to really, you can keep your toe on the corner of your mat if that helps, but we want to really be working our abs. Exhale 5. Inhale, go at your own natural pace. Now we're at 3. And 1. All right, now we're gonna flip back onto our belly. We're gonna bring the forearms out in front of us and come down to the mat and inhale, coming into cobra. So really pushing off those elbows, maintaining parallel arms while still dropping the head back, really opening the chest and heart. And exhale, coming back down. We're gonna do another round of this before we switch sides. So bring that right arm overhead, straighten out the legs. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Go at your own natural breath and really try to work those obliques. So really crunching in and trying to bring that leg up as high as possible. And last one. Great, drop it down. Forearms to mat, bring your head down. And inhale, coming up into cobra. Just feeling this beautiful back bend. And exhale down to the mat. Okay, we're gonna come up and I'm gonna swing my legs around so we can come into the opposite side. This is easier to see. So we have our head in our right hand now. Our legs are out long. We're gonna bring our left hand overhead now. And you know the drill. Inhale. And exhale. We don't want to be turning our body too much towards the floor. We want to keep a straight body, kind of maintaining like a middle distance. So really crunch. All right, now let's drop down, come down to the mat. Our elbows coming to our chest. Bring the forearms out and push off, coming into cobra. Really feeling a beautiful stretch in the back. And exhale down. Now let's roll over, putting our head into our hand once again. Let's do one more round. So left hand overhead, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Follow your own natural breath, trying to maintain, keep your core braced the whole time, and trying to really squeeze those obliques so we're really working those sides of our abs. And one more. All right, roll onto the chest, bring the elbows into the chest, and slowly push off the floor, coming into cobra. Let's take 2 deep breaths here. Really rolling the back. And come down to our mat, push over our hands, and bring the knees in so we can come into a seated position at the top of our mat. So we're going to come into locust pose. So with locust pose, we're going to basically come into a cross-legged position. With the left, in my case, I'm going to come into a seated position. We're going to come into locust pose, which is basically a cross-legged position. I'm going to take my left foot and put it onto the top of my right thigh. You can do either leg, doesn't matter. So you can do your right leg on top of the left knee, but just make sure it's not on the ground, it's on the thigh. And we're going to do some of those spine ripples again now that we're in locust, so it's a bit more of a stretch on the knee and on the thigh. We're going to take our hands to our knees, inhale, coming into cow pose, really arching that back, bringing the shoulders back, and rippling the spine backwards into cat. Inhale into cow, and exhale into cat, really feeling a nice stretch of that neck. And inhale. Feeling a stretch of the shoulders as well. Really rippling. So coming into your own intuitive movement here. Whatever feels comfortable. If you want to ripple side to side, I like doing that as well. So you can go in one direction. You can go in another direction. Just breathing here. Let's do 2 more rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, cow, dropping the neck. Exhale, rolling the shoulders forward. Inhale, coming into cow. And exhale, coming into cat. Alright, you can come back to a seated position. If you want to take that leg off, we're going to come into our closing part of class. So our goal now is to surrender and integrate. So we're going to come into a deer pose now. So let's turn onto our hands and knees once again. Place the top of our mat. And we're going to bring one of our shins parallel to the top of the mat. So in this case, I'm doing my right. And with our back leg, so our left leg, our shin is going to be parallel with the wall or the side of our mat. So this is deer pose. We have a 90-degree angle with our top leg and a 90-degree angle with our back leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly come down onto our forearms. This is very similar to pigeon pose, so feeling a deep stretch in the hip. If this pose is not accessible to you, you can always come into a seated figure 4. So you're laying on your back, you're bringing your right ankle over your left thigh and pushing off like this. Similar position, still getting a stretch of the hip, but you're not, really stretching if you have knee problems or if this is just an uncomfortable position for you because it is a bit of a weird pelvic movement here. So come back into position. Make sure your pelvis is feeling good with where you're at. You want to really release any tightness in the left hip. And as you do that, hinge forward. This pose may feel uncomfortable at first, but similar to frog, just breathe through it. This is a very relaxing pose, really breathing into the hip. Take a few deep breaths here. The deeper you hold it, the more you can feel that right hip just totally releasing. We're going to inhale, coming back up. We're going to take that on the other side. So this time I'm going to have my left shin parallel to the top of my mat and my right shin parallel to the right side of my mat. So get comfortable here. You can move your butt to back or to the side, whatever feels more comfortable, so you can maintain the 90-degree angles with the feet. So we're going to come into deer pose on the opposite side. So once you feel comfortable, we're going to bend forward, coming onto our forearms. You can keep your forearms on top of each other, like lay your head on your hands, or you can use a block, whatever's comfortable. I just like to keep my forearms down like this and just breathe, surrendering. Really breathe into the hip. Letting go of any tension in the face, in the eyes and neck. Feeling a stretch of that outer thigh, of that hip, of that glute. Just connecting with the body. Take 2 more deep breaths in. Alright, from here we're going to slowly come up. You can swing your back leg up to meet the front. And we're going to slide our butt down, coming to our back. And we're going to be coming into a supine twist, a classic, always a favorite. So we're going to inhale, bringing the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little massage, rolling out the hips. You can roll them in different directions, together. Just breathe here for 2 more breaths. Now we're going to drop the knees over to the right side. Coming into our supine twist and bringing the arms overhead. You can grab onto opposite elbows. Just breathing into this nice spinal twist. Your next inhale, bring the knees into the chest. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, dropping your knees over to the left side now. You can bring your hip back to get into a more comfortable twisted position. And once you feel good here, you can bring your arms overhead. Maybe grab onto opposite elbows now. And breathe deeply. This pose is great for digestion, for anxiety, and the spine. Take one more deep breath in. And slowly exhale. Bring the knees back into the chest. Bring the arms back. And we're going to bring our legs up into waterfall position. So waterfall is just legs up. And we're going to roll out the ankles. So you can hear them crackling now. We're going to just roll them to the outside. Just really getting into some ankle mobility. You can bring them up and back. Mine are clicking and clacking. And now we're going to bring them inside, rolling them inward. You do one ankle at a time, both together. And you can exhale, bringing your legs slow as possible down to the mat. Find a central position on our mat and come into our Shavasana, so our feet can go out to the sides. You can take up as much space as possible and just become still here. All the effects of our practice today. Allowing our breath to soften, not trying to force any specific amount of time for our breathing, just breathing naturally. Allowing our body to soak in all of the amazing benefits of the poses we did today. Noticing how you feel, how it feels to be creative and to flow, and to get out of your routine. There's no limits we should place on ourselves. We are limitless. Take one final deep breath in, expanding the chest, and exhale, feeling the chest and stomach deplete, and feeling that balance within our bodies and within our minds. Thank you so much for joining me today for this yoga practice. If you'd like more videos like this, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Soulflow Yoga. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Namaste.